Everybody, what's going on? It is Bill with Franklin Loan Center, and this week I wanted to hit on a topic that New York Times hit on here, and it's home sellers win $1 billion from a jury against the National Association of Realtors and a couple other of the big national mortgage brokerages. And it's just to like shorten the whole thing down, the sellers essentially or attorneys on the behalf of sellers sued the National Association of Realtors over they're saying that they've fixed the prices and that it's unnecessarily passing costs onto the consumer. And I just, the more I look at this, and then to take it even further, what they're saying is like the big kind of the it feels like the crux of the whole thing is that generally speaking, for anybody that's either bought or sold a house, they know that the sellers generally pay the commission for both sides, right? And this all of a sudden becomes this big issue decades after this all, after this has been the business model for years, right? And so it comes to fruition now, and there's people that are saying, look, this will be the end of the buyer's agents, because what they're trying to say is now the sellers don't have to pay the buyer's side of the commission. Well, I have a newsflash for you. They never had to. It's always negotiable. Yes, National Association of Realtors has said for a long time that you have to put an amount that the seller is going to cooperate with the buyer, but it could have been $1. It's not like they had to cooperate a whole big amount. The reason you cooperate a big amount is because you want buyers agents to bring their buyers to the house, right? So of course you're going to cooperate an amount. And so did this drive prices up? Well, I don't know. I mean, are the prices so perfect that maybe a 2 or 3% commission to the seller or to the buyer's agent is making a huge difference? And then I guess now, if what they're saying is now they don't want any buyer's agents, or at least they're not going to cooperate a fee, so buyer's agents would either work for free or have their buyers who are already paying their down payment and their closing costs, and now they're going to pay their realtor's commission. Anyone see a problem? I sure do. So I just like this whole thing is crazy. And then the notion of getting rid of buyer's agents. I mean, so anybody out there think it's a really good idea to on a regular basis have the buyers go in and have their representation from the person they signed a contract with to sell their home, and now they're supposed to get really good representation as a buyer from the person that's already agreed to represent the other side. I don't think there's many of attorneys out there that would agree that that's a great idea. So this to me, I don't know. I just see it as one of these things that on one hand, it feels like it could be a really big shift for the real estate business. But on the other hand, I look at it and there's so many things that don't make sense. I guess the other thing about price fixing that's really interesting is, I mean, there's a million brokerages out there. They can all charge whatever they want. They've always been able to charge whatever they want. So, I just don't understand how this is an antitrust issue. It just doesn't add up for me. So I would love to have people pile on here and explain this to me in a way that I can understand, but I don't see any great news coming out of this. For what it's worth, of course, NAR and then the other defendants in this case are absolutely going to be, they've already said they're going to appeal the case. So time will tell. It'll probably be locked up for years. But in the meantime, I just think there's some things to think about here in that who's going to pay all these, who's going to pay these fees. And I think that to me, another big thing, and I'll leave it at this, is if anything, because look, I mean, there's low barriers to entry to becoming a real estate agent. And I think that unfortunately, because of that, there are some agents out there that just really don't have the skill set that maybe they should have to negotiate a several $100,000 or several $1 million transaction. And do they even have really the qualifications to do it? And I think NAR needs to give some more thought to that, and how do they drive up that education a bit more. I know they're trying to do a good job, and I know it's difficult, but that to me feels like a thing. I mean, look, there is no question in my mind. I've been involved in hundreds and hundreds of real estate transactions as a lender, and I will say that what I know about being on a realtor side of the, or being on a buyer or seller on my own, I understand the value of having a realtor represent me. I know these contracts, I read them all the time, but that does not make me qualified to write a contract. And it sure as heck doesn't mean that I'm going to be willing to have somebody else do it for me, especially the party that's representing the seller. So there's a lot to think about here. But guys, this to me is one of these things that just, I just can't wait to see how this plays out. But to me, the way we do business and the way we've been doing business for a really long time with regards to commission is pretty spot on with the way it should be. That's what I got. Please, got any thoughts on this? I'd love to hear them. Chime in. I'll talk to you all next week.